What's
Good
going
morning.
on? Going on?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, family. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, man. Good, good, man. We got a little late start today, man. But we got about 30 minutes to do a little chop up segment. You know, it was a very interesting day upon NCAA college football yesterday. Um,
Indeed, indeed.
what I what I want to first point out, man, did you see how Deion Sanders has got that Jackson State offense clicking, bro?
Hey, man. I'm gonna tell you something. People better put respect on Shador Sanders' name, man. The kid can
Man,
play.
yeah, he bad.
The kid can play.
He
So,
bad.
um, I don't even the kid can play.
He,
He's legit. He's the real deal. Hey,
so
yeah.
so you in Texas, man, and as I'm looking in Texas, man, boy, it's a lot of coaching jobs out there.
What in high
Man,
school?
in high school, semi-pro, college, junior college, all over the place, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. It's a football. I think Texas might be the biggest football state. Um, I think it's the biggest in Texas, probably Florida and Ohio after that. But Texas is football runs everything, so I wouldn't be surprised. But they
Right.
they
So
they vacant for a reason though.
right. So are you looking to get back into the coaching field, high school, college,
Yeah.
junior college? You
So down here, after doing research, you have to be to coach at a school, at a public school. You have to be an employee of like not necessarily the district, but you have to be like a teacher. You have to work for the school
Mhm.
somehow. Work for the Department of Education down here. Private school, you don't like private school, Catholic schools. You don't have to, but the level of play dramatic. What I'm saying, drastically changes. Uh, Now, of course, you coach park ball. You kind of that's like its own little world because they have the coaches. They already have a lot of stuff there, so you kind of got to slide in where you can with the that semi pro. Semi pro is the same everywhere. Like I don't know if you want to get into coaching to get the experience coaching semi pro. Like that's a headache. And then college wise, you're not going to get a college job without experience. So you kind of gotta be a teacher. A lot of guys do substitute teaching. They'll like get their sub card, and that way they're an employee and they can coach. Um, a lot of guys, get the teacher certificate. So I'm just waiting for when my wife she starts working because we have a life that we've become accustomed to. So it would be a pay decrease if I was to start teaching or work for the schools. So when she starts working or gets done with school, then I'll be able to
Okay.
do it. But yeah, I
Okay.
had to turn one job. I had to turn the job down actually from a good private school because the time they start practice, and it was like it was like COVID time too. But like when they start practice, like 30 minutes after I get off of work, so I would have to like be there. But it's a good school, man. I was sad when it hit me back. I was like,
Yeah,
ugh.
yeah, yeah. The reason why I asked you, I got a friend out of Kentucky. Her son is the athletic director for this charter school down there close to you. And
Mhm.
I forgot the name of it. And she was like, he definitely looking for a defensive coordinator. So I thought about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
man.
why.
I got time now. Like COVID wise, ain't now, so I would be more open to it now. Uh,
Mhm.
and if I can do it and work, yeah, I do it, man. Like that's the thing, man. I dream be away
I know,
and
I
stuff.
know, I know.
So yeah, man. I love the X and O's, man.
Right. So upon the NCAA, there was some upsets. There were some teams. It's a little shaky, man. It's some teams that I expected to be great this year. Like as you know, us Clemson fans was down on our team last year because we lost 3 ball games. But when I talked to people like you and the other people, they were like, "What y'all down for, man? Y'all only lost 3 ball games. What?" They was like, "That ain't nothing to be down about." Like I was like, but," and then as I look for I look for I don't know if it's the South Carolina Gamecocks coaching staff. I don't know if they don't draw up the right plays for the young quarterback. But upon me looking at him in high school, some of the Oklahoma clips and things of that nature, they definitely not using him right, bro.
What you talking about, Spencer Rattler?
Yeah.
I just think he is as he is. Like I mean, he rolls out. He does a lot of stuff on the run, but he just hot and cold, man. That's why he lost the job to Caleb Williams. Like he's just like this. Like he'll make a crazy throw, and you're like, "Oh my god, that was amazing!" And then the next play come back and just look terrible, and you're like, "Who am I going to get?" So yeah, I'm not high on
So
Spencer.
I know some South Carolina fans was like, maybe he ain't Division 1, the big Division 1. Um, ready. Maybe he's um Division 1, but AA or AAA ready. Like maybe he should play with somebody like a Kent State or the University of Toledo or I was like, but don't sleep on like Kent State and Bowling Green and people like that. Like you still got to
Yeah,
be ready to go at them places. You know what I mean?
I definitely thought that he was going to go to Arizona because he's from Arizona. I thought he was going to go there until they got their guy, and then Arizona State. I think if they weren't in the midst of their are they getting some type of suspension, like postseason type bans from the recruiting violations, he would have went there. I think he would have stayed there. So I think South Carolina just was the best of the offers he had at the time, honestly.
Mm. I know he had one from San Diego State too. I don't, I was
Right.
like,
So
they ain't got a bad program, all right program. They win about sometimes 6, 7 ball games a year. But
yeah.
I don't know. But um, I heard you say something interesting yesterday. You said on the Toe to Toe Sports podcast, you said for those that don't know, um, Kentucky is going to be a problem. You
Hmm.
said if we look at their recruiting class and how it's got better over the 4 or 5 year span, like people is failed to pay attention. They're just creeping up and they just doing upsets year by year. And it's like it kind of remind me of Appalachian State, man, because I looked at their recruiting class, man, and it's like they just creep up on people, man. They just
Hmm.
creep up on people, and like teams like that, you got to be scared of. Like I tell people all the time, you can take the worst team in any SEC and put them in the ACC, and they'll be in the championship with Clemson every year. You know what I mean? In the ACC championship with Clemson every year. Now, and like Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Ole Miss, like
Missouri.
you just gotta look at their recruiting class, man. Like even though Ole Miss or Arkansas or Kentucky or Vanderbilt may struggle in the SEC, they won't struggle in any. The
No.
only other conference that I think that will give them a challenge is the Big Ten. Because you got Purdue, you got Iowa, you got Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like they
State.
always have top tier people going to the NFL. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree. I definitely agree. Um, yeah, man, it's Kentucky's not a slouch. Like Mark Stoops is probably one of the best defensive minds in college football, and he has the players that plays the way he wants them to play. Um, now they aren't elite. They'll never win the SEC East, but I think when you look at they're good to game plan. So when you see a team like Florida, who's when you look at us, we were a one trick pony week one, like it was just AR. So they can key on specific thing like if you want to take this out, eliminate this and this, and make them do this. He's very, very good at that. It's just he doesn't have the horses to keep up with a Georgia or Alabama, and he never will because it's Kentucky. Like, so, but they're a scrappy team. Like every year they give Florida problems. Like I tell every Florida fan, I don't care who we got on the field for the last since Mark Stoops got there. Well, not since got there, but the last 6 years, every year has been a battle. Every year has been a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, Kentucky is and they top 10 now. They're expected to be number 9,
Mm-hmm.
number 8, number 9 in the country now. So
Mm-hmm.
they for real.
It's a lot of people who got their eyes on Arkansas, man. I was in some sports groups yesterday, and they was like, Arkansas should be ranked higher than Clemson. What's the problem? I was
Yeah.
like, I was like, the problem is they're just not coming back on the scene, and they're just not getting hot. I said, but trust and believe me, if they've been hot in the last 3-4 years, and their recruiting class was up, they would be ranked higher than Clemson. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you gotta remember, man, SEC, man, like it's teams like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. Used to be Miami and Penn State as well back in the day. You
Hmm.
know, and I just think that y'all a lot of SC teams in a tough spot, man, and just like a lot of teams like. Cause I know they've been talking about the Clemson need to come to the SEC for the last 3-4 years. I
Hmm.
just don't really think the Clemson alumni gonna let that happen, bro.
They might not have a choice soon because I think with the Big Ten getting that $1 billion contract or like the 700-800 million, whatever, for the
Hmm.
broadcasting rights, teams like, hey man, I want some of that money because now instead of you making 5 to 7 million in the ACC, you can go to Big Ten and make 25-30 million a season just off the broadcasting. So I think the teams that didn't sleep in this year, like the Miamis, Florida State, I think you'll see them kind of go over there. You may even see the Duke, North Carolina, because Big Ten and Big Ten basketball. So you have the matchups with the Big Ten, the Michigans, the Wisconsins, the Indianas versus Duke and North Carolina. Like those matchups that you're going to see on the basketball side, plus the football side, it just makes sense for them to go Big Ten. And then Clemson, because their brand is just huge, that they would benefit from being in the SEC geographically and financially.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
So
And
yeah, I mean,
and with that being said, I know they was talking about. I forgot what I was listening to, man. It's a podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about the dude that owned the podcast said he picked 4 teams from the ACC. Now I said this is gonna be interesting. He
yeah,
said Clemson. He said Clemson. Um, he said Clemson, Pitt. He said Georgia Tech, and he said 5 Florida State and North Carolina. He said I think all of those teams will go over to the SEC. He said Miami a little bit later on. He said, but the way Miami school set up, if those teams move over, a lot of the Big East teams will come to the ACC, like the Syracuses, the Connecticut's, and the Boston College of State. He said that division of the ACC will be ran by Miami and Boston College. What do you think about that?
yeah. If they do that, yeah, I can see because the the big programs, the flagships, they're going to leave, like the North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, Florida State, because their expectation is championship caliber sports. So they're going to leave because the money that the ACC will be making at that point will be none. Like you can't compete with the SEC and the Big Ten at this point. So like you said, it'll be small, like how we look at like the not the Pac-12, but like the Mountain West. You know what I'm saying? Like Arizona, Arizona State. That division of football. It's where they have their D1 schools. They just are in their own space. That's what's going to happen with whatever's left over from the ACC. Because not everybody's going to leave, but the teams that are left over, that's what's going to be. So a team like Miami and Pitt could stay and just because you'll still have them. You'll have North Carolina State. Wake Forest. Still have schools there to where it'll look respectable, and they'll just run through everybody every year.
Okay. Well, excuse me. It's definitely gonna be interesting, and so what we'll do is, we'll just see what happens. So we're gonna get into the NFL games, man. And I heard Steve O chopped in. He said Atlanta gonna win today against the Rams. Steve, listen, bro. That's just like saying that I'm gonna have some cold grits this morning, and that ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like the Rams against Atlanta. Who
Yeah.
you who you guys like? Who you got quarterbacking, man? Or did you go out and get RG3 and suit him up, or do you got to clone Joe Montana? Like, who's gonna quarterback for y'all to beat the Rams? You know, because I don't know. Or maybe you gonna be the quarterback, Steve-O. You know, maybe you gonna shorten your vacation from Walt Disney, come be the quarterback. Maybe y'all can get the good boy Trey Young to be the quarterback. You know, because he does run points, so maybe he can throw a football. I don't know, KB. What you think?
Yeah, unless the Rams and Matt Stafford plays terrible, I mean, like comes out like throwing ducks, they're not going to win. Like there's there's nothing that the Falcons can bring. I mean, they have players. So you have like Cordell Patterson, you have Kyle Pitts. I don't know if their rookie is back, the wide receiver. So I mean, you have guys who can play, but Mariota isn't going to win it on his arm. So I don't know who he see, but you know, you gotta cheer for your squad, I guess. But it's gonna be an ugly day.
Yeah. Just like I can tell you now, I'm expecting it to be ugly for the Cowboys today, playing Cincinnati. Man, listen, man. Joe Blow lost his first game too. Nah, bro. It's like I don't have nothing against the boy Cooper Rush, but no, bro. Like, and then Phil Simms, Hall of Famer of the New York Giants, former two-time Super Bowl champ. He said that he believed that the offensive line is going to block better for Cooper Rush than they did that. And why did he say that? Boy, listen, bro. They been at his head, bro. Jerry Jones is mad with that fella.
Yeah, I mean, he can say it all he wants. I think they'll put him in better positions because when you have a Dak, you expect him to be able to do certain things, so you call certain plays. I think with Cooper Rush, they're going to protect him a little bit more by like not rolling him out or rolling him out more, getting away from pressure more because what you going to do like against a defense that's pretty good, especially on the back end now. So it's going to be interesting. Zeke going to have to show us why he got that contract today. Like if you got Zeke, Tony Pollard on your fantasy, you better start him. Tight end, you better start him because that's who's getting the ball.
yeah, and then you know the thing. Keller they got to do something more. It's like there's no way in the world that upon playing Tom Brady is one thing, but upon seeing what happened in the first quarter and they just stopped. You know, Zeke was averaging 5.2 yards a carry, which is not bad at all, which is pretty good. You know, and then for the remainder of the game, Zeke only touched the ball 10 times. Tony Pollard touched the ball 7 times. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like if they was on your offense, KB, Zeke would touch the ball way more than 10 times, and Tony Pollard would touch the ball way more than 7 times.
Zeke would touch the ball. He's my feature back. He touched the ball about 15 times, 15, 16. Tony Pollard would touch it about 8. And Tony Pollard would be my kick returner and my punt. He would be my punt returner, kick returner. So the ball's going to be in those two hands. Like you have these guys who are Pro Bowl caliber players. Tony Pollard can go to another team easily and start. Yeah. Like you got to use these guys. Like make these teams respect the run to make the pass be easier. Like you know what I'm saying? Play action to CeeDee Lamb would be open all day long if you establish the run. But they, I don't know why they don't. But
right, and then you gotta use your boy Turpin that came from the USFL that was MVP, and he was an MVP because of his wide receiver. You know, like he was a wide out that did his thing. So you just want to use him for kick return and punt return, Jerry. We already don't got no receivers, man. Put that man on the field.
Yeah.
Put that man on the field, man. So like I just really think that, you know, even though we got a great defense, but if the defense is always on the field, boy, that's a no-go. You know what I mean?
Tell me about it. That's a Gator fan.
Man,
tell me about it.
So, man, what other games we got today? Like, who y'all play today?
I can bring up the list if you want me to.
Okay, please do.
Let's see. So let's share screen. My bad. Here we go. So right now, you can see the schedule. Um, and then you got New York Jets versus the Cleveland Browns, Washington versus Detroit, Tampa versus New Orleans, Carolina versus the Giants. The list goes on.
Okay, we can start with the Jets and the Browns and do a breakdown on that. And a lot of people don't think the Jets is going to be bad this year. You know what I mean? Think they're going to win some games that's unexpected. What do you think about that?
Not without well, they got Joe Flacco. He can get it done. I don't think he can get it done against Cleveland. He's serviceable, but I don't see it. They were supposed to have the young boy in there. They have the talent now. They have some wideouts. They got the defense is solid. They got a running back. This was supposed to be the year, but Zach Wilson got hurt. So
Yeah, and me, I like Zach Wilson, and we're not talking about his off the field tactics. I like Zach Wilson, man, because I think he got a lot of poise at the position. I think he got good field awareness, and I think that they finally got some people around him this year. Because if we look at the last 4 games of the season last year, you can tell that Zach Wilson knew what he was doing. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Some of the highlights we've seen and stuff like that, man. So Joe Flacco, he done did this thing. He done won a ring, but he on his decline. So
yeah,
but I'm hoping to see Zach come back and show us some of that smoothness on the field
yeah. They
as
got
he has done off the field.
shout out to Zachy boy living the dream.
Yeah, man. So what do you think about New Orleans, man?
Man, they have the right pieces for the right quarterback. James is going to throw that thing. So they got they got receivers. They say Alvin Kamara is questionable with injury to like his ribs, so that'll be interesting to see. I think he's needed for them to be successful. Just the dynamic,
Okay.
but yeah, but yeah, man, they they may win. Well, no, they're not going to win the division over the Bucks, but I think they'll be respectable. They'll end a lot better than they did last year.
Okay. And so your team, what is going to get y'all clicking? Like what other pieces besides Carr, Devontae, uh, the one of the best tight ends in the league? Like how many yards do y'all need on the ground per game? Do y'all need at least 125 rushing yards per game to win, or what do you think?
Honestly, we hiring for a right guard and right tackle. That's what we need. Like before the season started, it was great because we had Leatherwood. For whatever reason, they wanted to cut him or trade him, and they just released him. I don't. He must have smacked Josh McDaniels' wife or something because there's no other reason that I would trade a guy who can play. Like you may not like him, you may think he's trash, he may be whatever he may be, but he can block well enough that you can keep you keep Carr upright. Without him, you saw what happens. Like, don't get me wrong, we went against probably the best top 3 pass rush tandem in the league, but what you gonna do? Our division is crazy, so
Yeah.
you gotta block the edges. But on the ground, I think if you give us 125 with that solid one, because the other guy's gonna eat when the ball's thrown, it's fine. But it's just the pressure is just crazy.
Right,
It's
right, right,
crazy.
right. Okay. So, upon us talking about that, man, all you heard in the off season was these offensive linemen that these teams was adding. Like they was talking about the Jaguars offensive line. They was talking about uh, Joe Blow getting help. And They was talking about Detroit added some pieces. They was talking about a lot of offensive linemen. You know, and so upon the offensive linemen, the right tackle, the left tackle, the guards, and people don't understand when you got a pulling guard that open up their hole for them running backs, and they can throw that flip and get people out the way, man. It's
Mhm.
nothing like it, man. It makes the whole offensive scheme so much better. And
Yeah.
so upon them, this is the first year I heard people talk about offensive linemen so in depth, on sports shows. You know what I mean? And so with both of us playing offensive linemen, defensive linemen, and stuff like that, we've always knew that we held value on the field. Why
Mhm.
does it take people so long, coaches, GMs, owners? Why does it take them so long to understand the value of offensive linemen?
Because it's taken for granted. Like the art or the skill set of a good offensive lineman is not seen because you just see a guy not getting to the quarterback, so you automatically be like, oh, well, that guy's just not getting off the ball. It's like, no, there's a guy in front of him that's 320 pounds with a six pack who can move. Like there's guy, you know what I'm saying? Like this is offensive linemen aren't what they used to be, like slow, unathletic. Like they used to be the spot where kids would be like, oh, go to offensive line. You'll be there. Like, no, these guys are masters at their craft. They're in shape, they strong, they athletic, like but you don't get their name called. You only hear their name when they did something wrong. So you're not going to get the accolades when the running back scores. He hit, he did good. Quarterback throws a good pass. It's because he threw a good pass. You don't hear offensive lineman tell somebody getting held or sacked or tackled behind the line of scrimmage. So it's a thankless job, but it's definitely underappreciated. But the good coaches know the value of a good offensive lineman. Like, look at the Patriots when they were on their runs. Look at their offensive line. Their offensive line was solid. They had the same guys for the most part. That same core, the majority of the time when they were winning those Super Bowls, the majority of them were there. Or they'd get a guy, bring him back. They had 5 or 6 guys who were their core. That's how you do it. Look what the Bengals did this offseason. Everybody else getting wide receivers, cornerbacks. They got offensive linemen. The
Yeah,
Chiefs, when they lost the Super Bowl to the Bucks that year, the next year, they got 3 or 4 offensive linemen. Like, it's just one of those things to where if you put the money in your line, you'll be great.
yeah. And then, I heard Eli Manning say on a sports show, he said people talk about me and the running backs, and they talk about the receivers, Cruz and Plexico. He was like, but who I want to talk about with that run is the offensive lineman.
Yeah.
He said without them, I couldn't. Like he said, we was 8-8 in '97. So he was like, we couldn't have made that run without offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Granted, we had a great defense, but the offensive lineman is what got us through. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you can be great without an offensive line, but really no. Pat Mahomes didn't have an offensive line, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers exposed it in that Super Bowl. They said, okay, we'll cover the deep and we'll give you underneath routes, and they made the
Oh,
Chiefs
oh,
change
oh,
their whole style of football.
oh, Steve, hold on now. We're not gonna say Pat Mahomes didn't have a offensive line. We're gonna say his offensive line may not have been predominant as other offensive lines, but trust and believe how much time Pat Mahomes had in that pocket. He had somewhat of a good offensive line.
Right. And 2 years guys were hurt in Super Bowl. Like, so his O line was fine. It's just I think their tackle, like 2 of their offensive linemen wound up getting hurt in the playoffs, like by the Super Bowl. So yeah, man, Steve, go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, man.
so 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 are you going to tell me upon Matt Ryan having his run that he didn't have an offensive line? Like, did he win an MVP? Did he win an MVP? So how could he not have offensive line? So upon that being said, you got to have an offensive line. Anybody talking about you don't got to have an offensive line is sadly mistaken, man. You got, and then you know, more teams. Like okay, we gonna say the like the top tier tight ends, man. Like we've had tight ends that get it done, like Shannon Sharp, like Antonio Gates, um, um, like um, like what's his name? Um, played for played for the Chiefs all them years. I forget his name, but he got it done too. You got Jay Novacek and Britt Jones and you had tight ends, like Jason Witten and so you had some tight ends that really get it done. And so what I would like to see from young offenses, you know, Patrick Mahomes used his tight end well. Derek Carr used his tight end well. But we have to normalize that the tight end is a top tier person in the league. A tight end is a top tier person in the league. You know, you guys, KB, have a phenomenal tight end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kelsey, a phenomenal tight end. Shannon Sharp was a great tight end. Antonio Gates. What's the best tight end ever played the game? They say they played for the Chiefs all them years.
Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez. Say he right tight end. Then you got back in the day, you had the tight end that Joe Montana used to go to, Britt Jones. You got the
Kellen Winslow Sr.
Yeah, Kevin Winslow. Like, yeah, man. So you got great tight ends. So I think that with you guys, the Raiders, you got different receivers that you can use as a decoy to really get that tight end where you can line him up as a tight end or you can line him up as a wideout. And a lot of people don't know that it's a lot of thick receivers, that's built tough in the league. Right. And so you can kind of use a decoy where you might line a receiver up as a tight end and a tight end as a receiver, but the tight end will still run a tight end route and the receiver will still run a post or a slant route. So it's many ways that you can kind of use those tight end and receivers to really mess defenses up. Because you have a lot of tight ends are just as fast as receivers. Some of them are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Vernon Davis, man. I be like, how is this guy tight end?
Vernon Davis, that he's one that doesn't get the Crockett's probably doesn't have all the accolades, but he was the one that got busy when he was in San Fran and we first got to Washington. Yeah. Vernon Davis was different. He was different. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think the Raiders just gotta. I'll judge them properly after this week. Last week, again, you're going against a great team that knows us, so it's a battle regardless. When we play the Chargers, as you saw last year, but then you add the fact that they have Joey Bosa on one side, Khalil Mack on the other side. I don't know too many teams that's going to be able to stop that, period. But on the flip side, we got Mad Max and Chandler Jones. So it's like each team has a crazy pair of pass rushers in the AFC West. Like every team has guys like that. So I don't know if it was just their guys were better than our guys that day on the pass rush, and we just going to look better against everybody else, or if it's just a problem and we're going to look bad against everybody. So I kind of need to see how they do against the Cardinals, who is not a great pass rush team, especially losing Chandler Jones to us. So I think we'll see more of an honest view of what the Raiders are.
I just want to know what your thoughts are, man. And, and the AFC West is loaded. And it's going to be interesting to see the who's going to finish first and second. It's going to be, as the season go on, it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah. But I think that's the best division in football, if you ask me. You know what I mean? The best division in football, hands down. I'm not an AFC guy. I'm an NFC guy, but that's the best division in football, hands down.
Yeah.
And so it's been a lot of uproar. I listen to Stephen A. Smith. I listen to Marcus Spears and, I listen to my man. What's his name, man? Used to play for uh the Steelers, cornerback that's always on first take and undisputed and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and they was talking about what scares them about these two teams at the quarterback position. Philly and Miami, both quarterback positions are very scary. Not the talent around them, but the QB positions. And so, man, yeah, I looked at Hurts numbers. Yeah, he got some pretty good numbers, but it's just still something that he's missing. Like Tua got some pretty good numbers, but it's still something that they're missing, man. It's still like the flow of the quarterback position that makes them stand out and say I'm elite is missing.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like they remind me of, and not throwing shots at my boy, they just remind me of young Dak Prescott's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they remind me of. And Dak is good. That could be great sometimes, but Dak ain't elite. And
Right.
it's starting to seem like, I love my Dallas Cowboy boy. It's starting to seem like Dak is very injury prone. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so to be making that much money and be very injury prone, man, like the organization is losing out. And so if people don't know, Jerry slick with it. Dak keep getting hurt. Oh, he gonna trade that contract off. Believe that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah, he ain't going for that.
yeah, man. Hurts. I think Hurts is. I think he's solid. I want to see him like lead more drives, like really with his arm, like really like be able to make those like tight throws. I think that's the only thing missing from Hurts is that danger. Like when you watch a what's my kid like Justin Herbert, like when he throws the ball, like you know what I'm saying, like it'd be different. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like it travels different. Even when
Yeah,
you look at like a Kyler Murray or you look at some of these other young guys, Joe Burrow, when they throw the ball, like it just moved different. Like it just lands in that perfect spot. And I think if he gets that, he'll be good. And I think it may take a year. Like, what's this year 2 for him?
hmm
Year three, right?
yeah, right.
Year 3. So I mean, I think you stick with him. He's giving you more upside. There's nothing out there really that's gonna make you better. You know what I'm saying? So I think you continue to grow with him. Tua, I just think he just right now he's forcing it to Tyreek Hill, um, and he doesn't need to. Like he just has to play a game and just get it to the open guy. And as long as he's being young, and Tyreek Hill is a big personality, and Patrick Mahomes could calm it down, Kelsey could calm it down. But when you're Tua and you got the $100 million wide receiver telling you to get him the ball, he's the biggest playmaker, all this stuff. You're gonna force him something. I think that's what we're seeing now. Like he's forcing it, and he just has to grow some nuts and be like, "Look, man, I'm gonna give you the ball when you're open. Like I'm not gonna force the ball. Like you need to get other guys involved to make it better, and that'll open it up for Tyreek Hill on the back end. But he just not. I don't think he's mature enough, or he has
Right,
that feel. He got that. You know what I'm saying? That vibe to go in there and really tell him to shut up.
right. Well, it's football Sunday, man, and there's some games going to be on that's going to be piquing our interest, and stay tuned, man, as we break it down for the whole season, and you know um the recap toe to toe coming soon, right?
Yeah, man, we working. We talking about it. We'll probably bring some guys on. So we're trying to finalize some stuff. It'll be like a toe to toe uncut, man. It is. It's gonna be. We'll probably all have a
Interesting.
drink. You know what I'm saying, in our hand.
Uh-huh.
Couple guys sitting around and talk sports, man. Really give you that locker room. You know what I'm saying? That vibe when you just kicking it with your guys and talking. Shooting the ish. So we're working on that. We're trying to finalize who's going to be on there, like the time. But yeah, man, it's going to be coming hopefully within the next week or two.
That's dope. Okay, y'all stay tuned for that, man. But we're gonna get out of here, man. Happy Sunday morning to everybody. Happy Family Day. Take care, be blessed, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Peace.